Coming up on We Talk News this week, cannabis licenses are back in New York. Get in line, starting now and ending in the first week of December. CEO Adam Levin of High Times is in more hot water, this time with the SEC over fraud allegations. MPP and NORML, two major lobbying groups for cannabis reform at the state and federal level, are thinking about merging, another sign of a market correction in the industry. And cannabis nursing is now recognized by the American Nurses Association as a certified specialty field. While the U.S. Department of Agriculture approves a variety of hemp with a lower level THC component, all but eliminating hot hemp. And we introduce you to a new Michigan correspondent, Amie Carter, who's fighting for her autistic son's right and access to his medicine at school. All that and more on We Talk News next.
Where the governor.
We are Pro Cannabis Media.
We are so happy to introduce you to someone who I think is going to be a very much appreciated contributor to our program weekly. Her name is Amie Carter. She's from Michigan. And if anybody has been following Pro Cannabis Media's posts over the last week or so, we've lost a dear, dear friend, Rick Thompson. He had been my Michigan correspondent for 3 years. Okay, and he passed away September 18th after his battle with cancer. And reading an article about Amie yesterday, I saw she was from Michigan. I figured she actually might know Rick Thompson. And what do you think? Of course she does. She's joining us now. Amie, first of all, thank you so much for joining us. And also tell us a little bit about your, you actually knew Rick Thompson in 3D. I did not. I only knew him through Zoom, and I still loved him. So tell me what the loss of Rick is going to mean to the Michigan cannabis community.
The loss of Rick is huge. He was very, very talented in what he did. He connected a lot of people, and looking back and, listening to people's stories, we realized how important, he really is. I mean, don't get me wrong. We knew he was important when he was here. But seeing the connections that he made and just where he got the cannabis community here in Michigan. I mean, he was a fierce advocate. He didn't hold back. He was great with his words. He was remarkable, and he's definitely going to be missed by all of us.
Well, I really hope that you and I will continue to talk about how we might be able to maybe create something in his name in Michigan. And I have no idea how that can happen, but it is part of my mantra to keep turning negatives into positives. And that's really this story here. Amie, your story is pretty compelling too, as I read up on it, as a mother who's fighting for the rights of her autistic child to actually have access to medical marijuana in the school. Can you tell us a little bit how it all happened with your child, Jaden?
Yes. I started medicating my son, Jaden, when he was just 9 years old. That kind of gets into a long story, so I won't get into all of that. But he was not able to take his medicine, obviously, to school. And so I would get phone calls from the school, can you bring a special medicine up? And that was 4 years ago. He's now 16 years old, and we've been working on this bill since 2018. We're working very closely with Illinois with Ashley's law. The mother of Ashley serves on the committee for Jaden's law.
Got it. And I actually think I've met Ashley before, believe it or not. But it's a small cannabis world. That's what I tell people anyway. Like so many compelling stories about this plant, this was a last resort for you because you had tried a lot of different things. Am I right?
Yes, it was a last resort. I actually had CPS that was getting ready to force me to terminate my rights because my son was so violent and aggressive. And so at that point, I was like, well, I'm going to try this. So I got him his card for nausea and migraines. and it calmed his aggressive behaviors. It improved his quality of life. His IQ went up, his cognitive impairment diminished. I mean, it's been nothing but good things, but a lot of bad stigma still surrounds it.
Absolutely. And that's what we fight for. We want to give the stories to people like you who are fighting for the rights of their children and also the rights to accept this plant as a medicine and treat it that way. One of my biggest beefs, and of course, we just met this week, is the fact the word recreational. I don't believe that any medicine should be used recreationally, even though we know that there are quite a few that do. I always use the Robitussin example because Robitussin is now an over 21 product that you have to show an ID before you walk out of the drugstore. And we all accept that because after all, Robitussin wasn't vilified for 85 years like the cannabis plant has been. And I just wonder, again, as someone who has seen these results, this plant is a powerful help that can change people's lives. And in this case, it changed your child's life and your life too.
Yes, 100%. And, being an autism mom and trying to, navigate on gluten-free diets and coping skills and medicines and all that, cannabis has been the best tool that has allowed him to use the other tools in his toolbox. Because he didn't really have the ability to process his thoughts and to be able to slow down enough to be able to utilize the therapies that he had been taught. And so it really opened up a lot of doors. It is a great, great tool, medication for him.
And now you'll be able to report on what's going on in your state of Michigan moving forward, and also your battle to get Jaden the right to take his medicine at school. So we welcome you to the We Talk News family and Pro Cannabis Media, and we will have more of the We Talk News show after this.